As you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about the theory of MoltenMCI, and a problem I've always had with it is relation to follow me. It's been largely assumed in the community that Henry's insanity in his speech refers to the following minigames, but I've always found this to be not good and just full of problems. So I feel like going into my problems with this theory and then giving an alternative solution. Let's start by discussing why follow me doesn't really make sense as the place where MoltenMCI happens, and then move on to Henry's speech. So let's start how follow me doesn't really work with MoltenMCI just on a logistical and timeline level. Follow me is firstly all in one night. This is clearly implied through the flow of the minigames occurring one after another, and the fact it's raining each time. For this to take place over the course of several nights, there would have to be a change in intention. Not only that, it just doesn't make sense that William will return night by night to do MoltenMCI when he can do it all in one night, especially given that the fifth night he returns for apparently no reason. Some say he came for the Spring Bonnie suit, but why? He could have used Spring Bonnie any night before and taken it. And if he did MoltenMCI, he wouldn't need the suit since as shown in the fourth closet, once the animatronics are amalgamated, William did not need the suit to trick them. They just see him as Spring Bonnie naturally. And also, if one accepts that Follow Me was all in one night, then it makes it infeasible that he injected the Revenant into the Fun Times. And to finalize that point and make it even worse, if he injected the MCI's Revenant into the Fun Times during Follow Me, then the Solars wouldn't be able to appear in the last minigame. They'd be trapped away, yet they appear and actively oppose William, making MoltenMCI here just almost impossible. Now let's go with Henry's speech and how it doesn't also align with Follow Me. I'll also try to simplify these points so they don't drag on too long. Firstly, Shadow is said to be helping the kids in the Ultimate Guide, which aligns with the minigame's outcome where the children are freed from their endos and kill William. My previous theory does provide a possible solution to this, so check that out if you want to. Moving on, if you look at Henry's phrasing in the speech, he makes it seem like whatever happened is recent, which makes sense compared to being like 10 or more years ago. It just doesn't make as much sense if Henry waited years and years and years and only now acted. But it does make sense if he figured out recently and only started to act now. And this does work wherever you place FNAF 3 in relation to FNAF 6, whether it be 2019, 2022, it works either way. It makes the time frame more reasonable. And as shown, William does not bring them all together and follow me. He only dismantles the 4 robots and those souls are still at the pizzeria. He does not combine them, misaligning with Henry's speech outright. It's almost irreconcilable. Not to exclude that a basis for MoltenMCI are the parallels to the novels. In the novels, MoltenMCI occurs after William becomes Springtrap, specifically after the underground pizzeria collapses. If we're using the fourth closet as a basis for this theory, then its timeline sure as well, which wouldn't fit with Follow Me, implying Henry's speech has to refer to something more recent. So with all that said, Follow Me doesn't seem to be where MoltenMCI occurred, but it is one thing to provide problems with a theory or an idea, and another to provide a solution. So what is my solution? How do we mend this problem and find a place for MoltenMCI on the timeline? Well, off the bat, yes, it is something off screen. There doesn't need to be a visual minigame or cutscene for this. I understand it's more satisfying, but it's not uncommon for the series. And while the explanation I have works best with Sisterlocation coming after FNAF 3, a theory I believe, it does work with almost every timeline. But what's the evidence for this claim though? Well, to mention again, Henry's phrasing in the speech treats what William did to the MCI kids as somewhat recent, which would nail down its time frame to between FNAF 3 and FNAF 6, so either a few years or a few months depending on your dating. I can even boost this time frame by using the novels, where the basis for MoltenMCI comes from. In the novels, MoltenMCI only occurs after William is Springtrap. The animatronics have been lured to the underground pizzeria and battled the Tutlesss, and after its collapse, William took them and melted them down. If the novels parallel the games with MoltenMCI, then it has to happen after William becomes Springtrap and escapes. To solidify this point, look at Help Wanted 1, more in particularly the vent repair. In normal mode, you play against ennard as you do your thing, but if you aren't aware, there's a secret furnace that has 4 endoskeletons being melted down, implying MoltenMCI heavily. But what many don't know is that in the event repair hard mode, ennard isn't alone. He's joined by Springtrap, crawling around the same vents, near the same furnace, as if he went back to Seabear after he escaped Fazbear's fright and melted down their endoskeletons. This, to me, I think is a good selling point, as there had to be a basis for which Fazbear Entertainment would have designed this in the game, while also having a meta meaning for us to infer. So with that information in mind, we do have the evidence for when MoltenMCI occurred, after FNAF 3, but before FNAF 6. Springtrap returned to the FNAF 1 location, took their endos down to circus babies, melted them down, and depending on your timeline, injected them to the MoltenFreddy amalgamation or the Fun Times. But how exactly does this work? Well, it's actually not that complex, but it's first that we establish when Happiest Day happened. As you know, FNAF 3, like 4 and later 6, was meant to be the last game. So what in the game implies when Happiest Day occurred? Well, note that FNAF 3 was advertised as having a single spirit still around, that being William. You see this in the source codes where it says 30 years later, only one, or when it just says, I remain. This is even implied in Springtrap's teaser, I'm still here. This all implies he's the last one around. No one else is here. But in the game, we know that's not entirely true, as you see the real puppet in Faster's Fright and her mask falling down slower in Happiest Day, implying she lingered behind. This means that Happiest Day has to have occurred before FNAF 3, which was the best time frame for it at Follow Me, which conveniently is where the Happiest Day hints are located and when the spirits fade away and you get the good or bad ending. It makes sense then it will happen here, and with this theory, it will require no retconning of its placement, but that's for later. Whereas timeline placement set though, what's next? Well, this theory involves William taking away their Happiest Day by melting down their endos. How can this be done? Don't the kids go to heaven during Happiest Day? No, actually. It's revealed how Happiest Days work in the Fast vs. Fight series. It's shown how they work through Jake in the ball pit, where the various souls trapped there by Eleanor are reliving their worst memory. Jake, a character very similar to Charlie, goes in and alters each memory to make them their happiest one, as seen with Millie from Count the Ways. Through this, each spirit is now at rest in a sort of memory bubble, but they don't go to heaven. Their souls are just at peace, trapped in a good memory where they feel, well, rested. What this means though is that if Happiest Day happens after Follow Me, the remnant is still in their endoskeletons. Their souls are just at peace in a memory, but again, the remnant remains. Melting down their endos will effectively zap them out of their Happiest Day, sending them back into the animatronics. But this time, it's the Fun Times or MoltenFreddy. Henry's speech also aligns with this interpretation, as when Henry speaks about William taking away what they had again, this can more easily refer to Happiest Day, which he would have taken away during MoltenMCI. And if we take the novels and movies into account, where he gives the children a false Happiest Day to influence and control them, he would have done this before already, taking away his false Happiest Day during Follow Me, shattering their perception by dismantling them, and then he then takes away the real Happiest Day given by the puppet after FNAF 3. To elaborate even more, when Henry talks about the trap William set, it's just William melting the endos down, and Henry not understanding how exactly he did it. The familiar tricks Henry mentions are just after making them possess the endos again. I could go on and on, but the entire speech fits with this without having to force it to Follow Me, and also fits with after it's done in other timelines, like the novels, and maybe the movies depending what they do. Just to make it even better, this keeps the good ending actually quite intact, not needing to push it forward or retcon it. It did happen when we thought it did, but William just ruins it, and Henry tries to free them for good in FNAF 6, sort of trying to brute force the Happiest Day instead of putting them in like a memory bubble like the puppet did. This would better fit with Scott's statement saying the ending of FNAF 3 is a complex one, as it did occur, but it didn't last. In a way, both the good ending and bad ending become canon at the exact same time. As a bonus, if you still want to keep Follow Me related to MoltenMCI, you could say that William did follow me to do MoltenMCI, but he failed because he died. But he finished the job after FNAF 3, since all the endoskeletons were sort of just laying around. He can easily just finish off where he left off. This could be a way to hybridize both interpretations and make them consistent with one another and basically take the best of both worlds. So maybe consider that if you like that idea even more. In summary, Springtrap after FNAF 3 returns to Freddy's and takes their endos, going down the circus babies and melting them down, injecting them to the Fun Times of MoltenFreddy, zapping the kids from their Happiest Day and breaking their souls. Henry discovers this and hence the insanity ending occurs. And that's generally it. This is somewhat of a shorter form, more laid back video, laying out my thoughts and problems with MoltenMCI in its current form, along with my alternative. The question now though, however, goes to you. Do you agree with this new version of MoltenMCI? Do you have a theory to explain the problems with Follow Me? Let me hear them down below. I would love to hear your possible solutions or ideas. And also, like the last video, what's a good theory name for this? I honestly have no idea. MoltenMCI after 3 sounds really, really bad. Leave suggestions down below in the comments. With that said, that's it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you want more from me. Feedback is key. Hope you all enjoyed the video and have a great day.